Mid says Odin split the sea in two. She's always been partial to a tall tale. But there's tall, and then there's tall.
I struggle to believe it myself.
I see your uncle isn't with you.
He stayed with the Enterprise. After our brush with the Einherja, she was in urgent need of repair. And my uncle knows a shipwright in Randalar. We're to join him there when we're ready to sail for Ash.
You sure that's wise? Last I heard, the place was still overrun with Akashic.
Show me a city where that isn't true. Ultima's plague is spreading.
We're running out of time, aren't we? We've done our best to shore up that hideaway. But I doubt a few planks will stop what's coming. Still, we'll keep at it. Every little helps, I suppose.
Let's hope so. Should visit Joshua. Assuming Talia will allow it.
You need anything, you just ask. We might not have your uncle's resources, but resourcefulness, we've got in spades.
How are you feeling, Joshua?
Better than I was.
But not nearly as well as you should be. Your cuts and burns may have healed, but your body still bears the burden of every spell cast.
And what would you have had me do? It was no ordinary foe we faced. It was the Warden of Darkness. Yet still, it was not enough. The king could have ended me at any moment, but instead chose to toy with me like a curl does a mouse.
You underestimate yourself.
Oh, it was crystal clear. Only one man established his dominance that day, and that man was Barnabas. I'm sorry, brother. That was ill-spoken. It's just, I have never felt so powerless. And when so many are looking to us for strength, perhaps the prince feels the same.
What is this place?
Don't move. Here, it's fresh from the well. Grandmother told me spirits sometimes get lost, and that the lanterns guide them to their proper place. I set one on the river for her when she passed away.
The fiend works from the shadows. Was it you who guided my hand then, Ultima? No, not you. This is my doing, my fault, my sin to bear. And for it, I must atone.
Your hurts are healing nicely. It was my poultices that saw you well.
You make them.
And sell them, or try to. Earns me enough for bread, most days.
Forgive me. I have nothing to...
I know, but I couldn't just leave you lying there. You're going then?
Of course. I'm healed. Thanks to you and your poultices.
Will you promise to come back and visit?
Well, Phoenix, it would seem that I owe you my wings.
Perhaps he can find an answer. You will be returning to Waloed soon, I gather.
I see no reason to wait.
Then neither do I.
I can think of a few, but I doubt they'll stop you. You will take your medicine.
Of course, Lady Dahlia.
Set on leaving already, are you?
How long will it take us to get back to Ash?
Dunno, about the same amount of time it took us to get here. Maybe less, if your uncle can find someone trustworthy to patch up the Enterprise. All depends on where we're putting into port, mind.
Yes. It's not as if we can put ashore wherever we choose. We have to assume that the whole of Ash is hostile, and that we'll be attacked on sight.
Then we must find a place they won't think to look. And I have an idea who might know of one.
The Professor! I'll go and tell you coming!
While you're plotting our course, I'll be in the shelves with your lawsman. I wish to pick his brains about Ultima.
Then I'll talk to Karen about supplies for the journey. They may not be easy to come by in Ash.
Your brother's body won't take much more of this recklessness. You know that, don't you?
I do.
You've seen more of the world these past 5 years than most do in a lifetime. It's a shame you never had a moment to enjoy it.
I still say it were a compliment.
Say it all you like. It doesn't make it true. Ah, Clive. I was wondering when you'd arrive. Please tell me you've come to take our young prodigy here off my hands.
I'm not here for Mid. I need information on Ash.
Then why not ask Molly if you can look in one of her ovens? Go on.
As soon as the Enterprise is ready, we'll be setting out for Drake's Spine. And we're going to need a safe place to land.
Preferably one that won't see my ship blown to shit and splinters.
If it were that easy, do you think Waloed would have resisted invasion for so long? Very little is known of Ash, and the information we do have is spotty and outdated. We have the good King Barnabas to thank for that. Waloed's borders have been closed to outsiders since the day he seized the throne. If there is anywhere safe to land, You won't find it on my map.
Then tell us what we will find. I'm sure you know better than we do.
But no splinters.
All right. If it will get you out of my hair. But interrupt me, and it's over. Understood? Barnabas Tham, the one they call the Last King. Understand him, and you will understand the kingdom of Waloed. Barnabas was only a boy when he arrived from beyond the southern seas, and barely a man before he united the ragged tribes of Ash. And having unleashed them upon the formidable Veldemark, he set his throne upon the ancient kingdom's ruins. The victory sent shockwaves around Valisthea, tales of Odin's might spreading through every court, parlor, and drinking hole in the realm. Note that this was in the year 843, and that the king still sits upon his throne some 40 years later, quite untouched by time. Waloed's recent inaction left many wondering if Odin had lost his appetite for war. And yet here we are. The Einherjar was committed to the fray, a bold declaration of intent. Orcs swarm around Drakesfang, and throngs of Akashic haunt Canva's streets. Though how precisely the havoc they wreak serves Waloed remains unclear. Regardless, if the order to attack truly came from King Barnabas, then one thing is certain. Waloed has achieved the impossible, and made bedfellows of beastmen and the ether-addled alike. All of which is a roundabout way of saying that you will be in unknown territory when you set foot on Ash. Much of the continent has already been lost to the Blight, and what few ports remain will be fiercely guarded. And that is to say naught of its natural defenses. Offshore currents will cast an ill-equipped ship out to sea one moment, and dash it against the rocks the next. But then the Enterprise is anything but ill-equipped. And Mid has made land there before. Now, if only there were someone with an intimate knowledge of the Shadow Coast, and where a daring gentleman might put ashore. You see, Clive, you had the answer all along.
Do you think you can get us back to that beach, Mid?
Picked you up from it, didn't I? Not that it were easy. The currents were a right bastard. But then, if it wasn't hard, it wouldn't be worth doing, would it?
Well said. Thank you, Lady Vivian.
If a few morsels of common knowledge and a sprinkling of tavern talk are worthy of your thanks, I wonder what genuine intelligence might earn me.
Probably more visits. Mid, I need everyone in the ale hall now. I'll fetch Joshua from the shelves.
Aye, aye, Captain.
What am I gonna do?
Is everything all right, Goots? You seem more discomposed than usual.
Oh, I don't know what that means, but I'm in a bit of a muddle. Oh, I think Nan might be in trouble, and she's...
It's all right. You can tell me.
There was a trader came by. One of our usuals, like. Said he'd heard some rotten rumours about her down Dallymill Way. Folk are saying she's been selling to bandits and cutthroats and that. I mean, she's fond of a chance to make a coin or two, aye, but she'd never do business with baddies. Especially not the kind who go hating people who haven't done out. I wanted to ask her about it myself, but I'm scared she'll give us a tongue lashing. She'd never give your tongue a lashing, though, would she?
Don't worry. I'll speak to her.
Thanks, Clive. You'll let me know what she says, won't you?
Of course. I'm sure it's all just a misunderstanding.
Nan sometimes sells swords and that, but never to anyone who's not a friend of ours. That's how it's been for as long as I've known her. You don't think it's true what people are saying, do you?
Lady Karen, how's business?
Not nearly as foul as the weather.
You're doing good trade then? Both in and out of the hideaway?
Can't complain. Wait, what exactly are you getting at? Not once in 5 long years do you pay my affairs half a care, but here you are today raking me over the coals like a bloody popoto?
Just asking. Out of interest. All right. I'm here because I was told that certain rumors have been circulating. About you selling weapons to brigands.
Oh, are you? And who was it who knows me so well as to tell tales of my evil exploits?
I didn't exactly hear firsthand. All I know is that someone in Dalimil has been spreading word to that effect.
And what? You believe it? You think I'm profiting off the blood of innocents, do you? Look, I've done things I'm not proud of. Might be there were a time when I turned a blind eye to the wretchedness of the world so I could line my pocket. But that woman is no more. And you'd know that if you'd ever paid the slightest bit of notice.
You're right, Lady Karen. I apologize. It was wrong of me to doubt you.
No, it was. Now, I reckon you've got better things to do than pointing your do-gooding finger at a poor old woman.
Of course. Good day. I spoke with Lady Karen.
What did she say?
That the rumors were unfounded, and that I was a fool for thinking they might hold any truth, along with some other things that made her feelings clear. And while it sounds like she may have done things she regretted in her past, she says those days are behind her.
Oh, well, that's good. I knew Nan wasn't caught up in out bad. But why would people say she was? What did she ever do to them? It's not right.
No, it's not. But people do things for all sorts of reasons. Perhaps we'll never know.
Well, I'm going to find out. That trader, he said they were all talking about her in Dalimil. So that's where I'm going. I'll find someone who'll tell me, you'll see.
Are you sure that's wise? Whoever's spreading these rumors means Karen ill.
Oh, right. But that's why you'll be coming with me, isn't it, Clive?
I suppose it is.
I'll find out who's been making up lies about poor Nan, and when I do, I don't know what I'll do, but it won't be pretty.
It shouldn't be too hard to find goods.
We need someone who can bring the whole town together.
Gilbert, take this crystal.
Could be I know something more. What's it worth to you?
Clive, listen! I found someone who says he's heard the rumours about Nan.
Have you?
Go on. Tell him what you told me.
All right. It's like I said. A wizened old crone by the name of Karen's been selling steel to whoever will pay her price, be they knight or knave. Says the more swords and spears she puts in people's hands, the more war they'll wage. And the more war being waged, the more call for swords and spears. And who will they all turn to keep them in steel? Why, the good Reaper herself.
And you've seen this Reaper at work?
Aye, it just so happens I have. You'll find her right here plying her trade most days.
Here in Dalimil? Where exactly?
She has a stall here in the market, but if you're not the patient type, you can probably find her at her storehouse on the edge of town. But it'd be a bolder man than me that braved that particular nest of vipers. Feeling bold, traveler? I hope so, for your sake. Now, if that's all, I have places to be.
Sorry to have kept you.
You don't think Nan's the Reaper, do you?
Well, unless she's discovered the secret of how to be in two places at once.
Eh? What do you mean?
Lady Karen hasn't left the hideaway in weeks. So who has been running this stall he spoke of?
Good question. I'll go and have a look.
And I'll visit this storehouse on the edge of town.
All right, but be careful, Clive.
You too, Goots. Time to brave the Viper's Nest.
Just you, is it? Thought I might have laid it on a bit thick.
It was a fairly unconvincing tale. So, what now?
That's up to you. Die a slow death, or a quick one. Boys, he's all yours. But that sword is mine.
Leave now and we could pretend this didn't happen.
Oh, you've done it now.
Go on. Tell me what I've done.
When the Borgwyn finds out you've killed his men, he'll have your head. He only wanted that bull of a manservant, the dim one always clinging to Karen's skirts. You weren't even supposed to be here. Who the hell are you, anyway?
What were you going to do to him?
The Borgwyn wanted him to get to Karen. I was only supposed to point the lamp in the right direction once he arrived in Dalimil. But then you turned up. Well, go on then. If you're going to end me, end me.
You're not worth the effort. Now be gone, before I change my mind.
Fucking coward!
I need to find Goots. Right now.
Get your filthy paws off me, you naughty-pated lout!
Stop calling me names! And stop spreading them horrible lies about Nan!
Well, that will be easy enough. For they are not lies. Every last word is true. And she must pay for her crimes in blood.
Lord!
Goose, are you all right?
He's gonna kill Nan! He said she had to pay in blood!
After what she did, it is only right. She ruined my life and the lives of countless others. That loathsome harpy's very existence is a crime, and I will not allow it to continue. Goots, was it? I have no quarrel with you. Only with your employer. Run along now. You need not pay for her sins.
No.
No?
I don't care what she did. I won't let you hurt Nan. Promise me you won't hurt her, or I'll kill you myself!
Goots, no.
Enough, all of you!
Karen. But how did you?
You're a sight less clever than you think you are, the pair of you. Did you think I wouldn't notice the two of you slinking off together? Well, the whole thing got me thinking, who in Dalimil might bear me a grudge? And a certain snivelling shit I ran afoul of in my fairy years came to mind. Though it was just Bogan back then, wasn't it? I thought the years might have taught you some sense, but I see you're the same pants-pissing craven you've always been. What was it we called you? Wet legs.
You bitch! Everything that happened, it was all your fault! And now you'll finally pay for what you did to me!
Goots, you...
If you want a piece of Nan, you'll have to go through me.
Fuck!
You great galoot. Out of the way, I can handle this myself. So, wet legs, you remember what you told me when we last met? An eye for an eye. Wise words, Sam. Wise words. And now, it's time to collect. Sorry to keep you waiting.
Is he...
Dead? No. But I reckon he wishes he was. It ain't easy going through life one eye short of a pair. After all, I should know.
You don't mean...
Oh, don't tell me you didn't notice. Lost it to old Wet Legs back when we were working the same routes. Said I'd stolen from his strongbox. I'd done nothing of the sort, mind. But that didn't stop him taking his little revenge. So I took some of my own. Sorry, lost everything. His coin, his clients. Always knew he'd be back one day to claim his due. But he crossed a line dragging poor Goots into this. He didn't hurt you, did he?
No, Nan. Still got all my arms, see? Legs too. But what if he comes back again?
What if he does? First we take the other eye, then we work our way down. He'll learn his lesson soon enough. But something tells me the Wet Legs has learned it already. Right. Let's get you back to the hideaway. You've attracted quite enough attention already. Ta-ra, Clive.
Remind me never to cross you, Karen.
Nothing like a dish of cold vengeance to foul the gut.
I'm sorry, Nan. I didn't mean to make things worse. I just thought I had to protect you. Like you've protected me.
Aye, well, someone had to. Your parents certainly didn't give a whit for your well-being. Reckon the both of us would be worse off if I'd not taken you on. You've always been me right eye, Goots. And I'd have you stay that way. So don't you dare go looking for trouble again.
Well, I will. If you ever need help, I'll do it again and again, and you can't stop me.
Why, you big lump. Fine. Play the hero if it makes you happy.
Thanks, Nan. I won't let you down.
There's nothing he wouldn't do for you.
That's as maybe. But if he's ever to make his own way in life, he'll need to start looking out for himself as well. Till then, he'll need people to watch his back, just like you did in Dalimil. Don't think I didn't appreciate that.
Of course. His family.
Stop it. You make me one good eye, mister. I don't go thinking that'll do you any favours. A potion today'll cost you the same as it did yesterday. Let me tell you a story, Clive.
All right.
Them rumours wet legs were spreading. Might be they weren't just tales plucked out of thin air. You see, there were a time when I weren't too particular about who I sold steel to, so long as they paid me the right price. Some women lust after blood, others after flesh, but me, I were always one for gold. And to satisfy that lust, I sold to opposing armies, stabbed my every client in the back, made myself the most hated woman in the twins. But then one day I met a man who made me a different kind of offer. Said he'd give me access to a realm-wide community of like-minded individuals in constant need of steel and sundries. On the condition I sold to him and his alone.
Was that the first time you met Sid?
Aye. And I fell right into his damn trap. He was true to his word, so I ended up being true to mine. And I soon started making the best profits I've seen since taking up the trade. And all without aiding or abetting any outlaws. Except Sid himself, that is. Told me about his plan to topple the mother crystals, you know. Said that with them gone, the realm would want for all manner of things. An opportunity for the likes of me to mint gil. Why, I reckon an enterprising individual could find himself the richest dam in the twins. And that's when he had me. I emptied my stores that day and moved into the hideaway proper. And the rest, as they say, is ancient bloody history. A dozen years on, and I'm still not the richest dam. Not for lack of trying, mind. But I can say that I have never been happier. You've all shown me there are some things more precious than gil.
That there are.
So don't you go messing it all up, or you'll have me to answer to. The stews.
Trouble with the ledgers. Shouldn't he be asking Otto for help?
Clive, did you get my letter?
That's why I'm here.
Shh. Otto might be listening.
Is this better?
A little. Listen. I've some bad news. It turns out the hideaway may be slightly behind in its payment to certain lenders, and it may be my fault. But I swear to the goddess, I thought I had the numbers square. Sadly, that square
turned out to be more of a circle. Zero, you might say. I can straighten it out, I swear, but it's gonna take some time, and I'm gonna need help keeping it from Otto.
Bit late for that, I'd say.
There you are! What a surprise!
So let me get this straight. You forget to pay our lenders what they're due, and instead of coming straight to me, you get Clive to come to you. In the hope he'll dig you out of the hole you've dug for yourself. Clive, the man in charge of the place you've been cheerfully trying to bankrupt. And you thought this was a cunning plan. Why? Well, who needs paying?
Oh, just Martha. And the dame. And, well, Lady Karen. But only 500 talents.
We owe 3 of our most trusted friends 5 million gil.
Each. 5 million each. They lent us the bulk of the money we used to rebuild the hideaway, you see, and, well, I must have made some sort of oversight.
Those ledgers were my responsibility, and it was my decision to entrust them to you. This is my fault.
Do we have that much to hand? I can always ask my uncle.
No, we don't. And no, you won't. We've lightened Lord Rosfield's purse enough. After the king's ransom we had off him, he deserves better than to see our begging bowl. Besides, we'll need to learn to stand on our own if we're gonna make this work.
All right. But that doesn't mean you have to shoulder the burden yourself. Is there anything I can do to help?
There might be. How'd you fancy taking these to Martha and the dame?
Rocks.
Rocks, he says. Worth 1,000 talents apiece, these are. A little something Sid and I set aside for when times got lean. And I reckon 15 million in overdue debt probably qualifies. I just hope our associates' eyes are a bit more discerning than yours.
I'm sure there will be.
Should be me making the rounds, really. But you know how it is with this place. Orders to bark, arses to wipe, and all that.
I know. Which is why I don't mind going in your place.
Go. Do you know why I only gave Master Clive here 2 star rubies?
Because you'd rather Lady Karen killed me.
Because I'd rather Lady Karen killed you. Yes.
Well, I suppose this is goodbye then.
Don't worry. I'm sure Karen will understand.
Really? Do you think so?
No, I don't.
Clive, we weren't expecting you.
I wasn't expecting to be here, but it seems we still owe you a considerable amount of coin for your help with our rebuilding efforts. And though I doubt it's what you were expecting, we were hoping you'd take this as payment.
A star ruby? I can't accept this. It's worth at least twice what you owe me. More if you can find yourself the right buyer.
Think of the difference as interest.
Interest? If word got out I charged that much, no one would ever borrow from me again. Anyway, why are you the one here asking me about this? I'd have expected Otto. Bit much sending the Lord Marquis out to settle your debts, isn't it? The old goat working himself to death again?
Something like that. Most days I think he's the only reason the hideaway's still standing.
Same as always, eh? Back when the place was nothing but a twinkle in the eye of a recently retired Lord Commander, word is he was the first one Sid reached out to. Probably knew that without his strong arm and level head, the idea would never get off the ground. Sid may have been the face of the hideaway, but Otto's always been the backbone. And when Sid passed away, we were all worried that would be the end of it. That Otto would just give up.
His death was hard on everyone. But it must have hit Otto hardest of all.
But he didn't give up, did he? Quite the opposite, in fact. If I recall, he was the one who nominated you as Sid's replacement, and rallied the rest around you. I reckon what he saw in Sid, he saw in you too. And don't we all? Doesn't hurt that you're half as stubborn and twice as handsome, neither. That, and you keep good company.
I suppose I do. Milady, I come bearing gifts.
Gifts? Whatever is the occasion. Oh my. Clive, you really have outdone yourself.
Otto asked me to give it to you. To settle the Hideaway's debt with the Veil. And to compensate you for the time it took us to do so.
You disappoint me, Clive. I thought you might finally be warming to me. Tell Otto he can keep his baubles. I tried to tell him as much the first time around. The man owes me nothing, nor does the Hideaway. My contribution to the restoration effort was made freely and willingly. It was the least I could do.
You once told me Sid did you a kindness. I'd like to do the same. Please, accept it. For my sake. And for Otto's. For all of us. For all you've done.
It is rather fetching, isn't it? Very well. Otto is lucky to have you, Clive. I doubt anything could ever replace his son. But you and the others at the Hideaway are the closest thing he has to family.
Otto had a son.
Long ago, yes. Sid told me Otto lost him when he was just a boy, and blamed himself for not being able to stop it. I don't know how it happened, whether there was anything he could have done, but it was clear that it weighed heavily on him.
I didn't know.
How could you have? I doubt anyone did. Besides Sid, I've never met a man more keen to bear his sorrows in stoic silence. An ill habit, given that both have always been surrounded by friends desperate to help them.
I'm beginning to see that. Goat will want to know the stones were delivered. If he's still with us. Goat. Still alive, I see. So Lady Karen accepted the ruby.
Ah, about that. I tried my best, but she was just too stubborn to take it. She threw it right back in my face, in fact, and told me I could stick my stupid stone where the sun don't shine.
Karen refused payment.
I hope it wasn't something I said.
I'm sure you were as tactful as ever. Let me see what I can do.
Oh, wonderful. I hope you have better luck than I did. Oh, don't tell.
Lady Karen, Goat tells me you weren't happy with our offer. Would you prefer the debt was repaid in coin?
What debt? I don't recall lending any of you lot me hard-earned gil. I may have tossed a talent or two in the Hideaway's coffers, but those were donations, and you can hardly call it charity if you go asking for it back.
Of course not. But one good turn deserves another. And our circumstances have changed. Surely you wouldn't shun the gratitude of a pauper who happened to have become a prince.
Oh, so you're a prince now, are you? Fine. But I'm selling it and taking what I'm owed, then you're getting the rest whether you like it or not. Where'd you even get this? A decent trader might nab 1,000 talents for a star ruby. A canny one, meanwhile, might claim it were nicked from the belt of Sid the Outlaw himself and ask twice as much. Might be I already have a buyer in mind. Might be you even know her. A fine continental maid whose beauty's only eclipsed by a guile in commerce. You wouldn't mind, would you?
Not at all. Just be sure to tell her that it's always a pleasure doing business.
I hear you ended up delivering all 3 stones. Thanks to this lump. I sometimes wonder what I pay you for.
Speaking of which, I still haven't been paid last month's wages.
Oh, so you remember what's owed to you then? Get your ass behind that disc of yours and don't get up before those ledgers are square.
Right away.
I've seen that before.
Yeah. Plenty of times. It was the only goblet Sid ever used. Either out of habit, or because the filthy sod couldn't be bothered to find a clean one.
I knew so little about him.
Like most people.
Martha and the Dame both seem to have fond memories of him.
I bet they do.
How long did you know Sid before he...
Before he died. 20 summers, give or take. Back in the day, I was a purser on a trade ship, which is where I met him. He bought passage to... I forget where. And having nothing better to do on the long nights, we'd sit up drinking island rum till the morning bell dragged me back to my duties. Quit my post not long after that, on account of making a fine maiden's belly fat. But me and Sid stayed close, promising we'd one day sail the seas again. That was before fate stepped in and said she was having none of it. The magic woke inside my son soon after his first name day, and there was no hiding his knack.
Couldn't you and your family have...
My family were the ones who summoned the constable, wanted the monster taken away. I couldn't turn my back on him, forget what I felt, and I couldn't for the life of me understand how they could. Luckily, Sid was of the same mind as me. It was him who stood beside me when all I wanted was to tear the whole world down. Him who cried for me when I had no tears left of my own. Him who swore he'd do everything he could to stop it from happening again. And he was true to his word, too. Left the Royal Army once and for all. His ranks, his ribbons, gone. Just like that. Threw away everything he had. All to right a wrong that no one else had the courage to face. I knew then I'd follow that man to the ends of the earth. He was always too clever for his own good, was Sid. Saw the world for what it really was, while the rest of us were content to go along with the lie we were shown. And it can't have been easy, bearing that burden alone. But he didn't let it stop him. He never lost faith in what he believed was right. And that gave us faith in him. Faith he'd steer us true. So I swore to myself that I'd always be right behind him, ready to catch the stubborn sod, if ever he should fall. couldn't even do that. Ignore me. Just the ramblings of a tired old man. Leave that lot. I'll tidy it up in a bit.
This is Sid's handwriting. Dear Otto.
I may be drunk, but I wanted you to know this place would be fucked without you. Love you, you grumpy old sod.
This note.
Hmm? What about it?
Sid was right. Without you, we'd all be lost.
He should have bloody well said so then. Just once. Before he went. But then, why would he? Him, or anyone? I'd only have told him to piss off. You're wrong, though. Both of you. It was never just me keeping the hideaway afloat. It was all of us. I just shoved people in the right direction, and I barely seem to be able to do that anymore.
Would you rather go at the helm?
Well, maybe I've got a few more years left in me.
I'm going to hold you to that, Otto.
Before you go, Sid would have wanted you to have this.
But that's...
This'll do me just fine. Thanks for the ray of sunshine. I'll see if I can't pay you back.
Already have.
I have no reason to assume otherwise.
Well, then that changes everything. Clive, you must listen to this. Roseman, tell him.
Do you recall when we spoke before on the divinity of Ultima? Well, it inspired me to delve deeper into the subject. And what I discovered appears to agree with the findings of His Grace.
You will recall that my quest to uncover Ultima's origins began with the mural at Phoenix Gate. But while I've always known it to be important, its secrets have heretofore eluded me. Now, however, I believe I know where to find the more complete example, one that will reveal all we seek.
Master Clive, have you ever in your travels chanced to hear of the Circle of Malleus? I would think not, few have. But there was once a time when the faith flourished, the oldest known religion in the Twins, and though its popularity eventually waned on Storm, hints of its dogma remain embedded in more modern faiths such as the Crystalline Orthodox.
Wait, you said it waned on Storm. What of Ash?
Religious monuments are often torn down or repurposed when new faiths rise to prominence. But if no new faith arose, then perhaps the ancient temples might still stand. And so, you see now why I must accompany you to Waloed.
it would appear the past still has much to teach us. Though in this case, it would not have been possible without the musings of Moss. To think that you carried a copy of my old mentor's chronicles all along. I am relieved to discover it in good hands.
I shall guard it with my life.
Joshua, if you're finished here, join me in the ale hall. I need to speak to everyone before we leave.
Right away.
Mid said I could ride the Enterprise next. No, she didn't. She said I could.
My apologies.
By now you've all heard where we're going and why. So I won't bother you with the boring details, only the important ones. If we attempt to approach Stone here by sea, there's a good chance we'll be sighted and fall prey to the capital's artillery. So instead, we'll disembark on the southwest coast and make for Drake's Spine on foot. I say we, but it's highly likely the entirety of Ash is under the rule of Ultima. A large party would only attract unwanted attention, as well as slow our march and require supplies which may be difficult to obtain. Only Joshua and I will be going. And a scout. Preferably a good one. Gav, do you know of any?
You bet your ass I do. Might still borrow some of Lady Vivian's maps, though. Just in case, like.
Once you've dropped us off at the Shadow Coast, you need to retreat into neutral waters, fly merchant colors, and stay inconspicuous. If you sense any danger at all, you leave us behind and return to Storm.
Inconspicuous is my middle name. But like hell am I leaving anyone behind. The ship ain't going nowhere till your scurvy mugs are smiling on deck.
Jill, the Enterprise will appear a tempting target for royalists and pirates alike. You're to stop anyone boarding.
Don't worry. I'll keep the ship and her crew safe. You'll be needing passage home, after all.
But... very well.
If there are no questions, I'll see you all at the docks.